Are you still stuck in your corporate job, replaying the same doubts over and over? From I might fail to I'm not ready yet. I spent 6 years trapped in that mental loop. Today, we're breaking through the 6 biggest mental blocks keeping you from building your dream business. Because here's what I learned. You can't wait to feel ready. You have to learn to take action while feeling all the things. And I'm going to show you the key to making that happen today.
Welcome to How to Quit Your Job, a mom's guide to creating a life and business you love. It's a podcast that helps working moms just like you optimize your time, manage your mind, and start a business that helps you create more freedom, flexibility, and yes, fun. I'm business and mindset coach Jenna Reichel, and I offer practical tips to help you ditch the 9-to-5. I've been exactly where you are, and I know what it takes to make the transition without trading one form of burnout for another. So let's get started.
Hello, mom friends. I wanted to share a message I received on Instagram about a month ago because I know it's motivating to hear about other people taking scary yet life-changing action. The message said, Jenna, I wanted to let you know that I just started listening to your podcast and it was life-changing. I just started my freelance business 2 months ago and have several clients, and I couldn't keep burning the candle at both ends. I finally resigned today. My last week is Thanksgiving week, and I'm so relieved, excited, and terrified at the same time. Last week, we talked about emotions, and this is a perfect example of the cocktail of emotions that can all be present at once.
And it's the week of Thanksgiving here in the US, so
That amazing mom,
Brissa will be celebrating her last week of corporate work and stepping into her new chapter. Congratulations. So inspiring. I love it.
So speaking of feelings, like I've said before, the feeling comes from our thoughts. And if you're like me, there are specific thoughts that keep playing on repeat in your mind. And unfortunately, they aren't the ones that keep you feeling excited and confident. They are usually the ones that make you feel small and stuck. So today, we're going to finally do something about it. Today, we're going to unpack 6 of the biggest mental blocks I see holding moms back from leaving corporate to build their own businesses. And more importantly, how to move past those thoughts. Last week, we talked about how emotions drive our actions. And this week, I want to expand on that. And you're going to think I'm a mind reader because I know at least one of these thoughts is on repeat in your mind. And if you're like me, maybe all of them at some point or another or at the same time. I spent years in a corporation where I knew it wasn't the right fit. I had all these ideas for my business, but my mind kept serving up the same thoughts. You're not ready yet. You need more experience. What if you mess this up? You're not entrepreneurial. And you want to know how long I stayed stuck in that loop? 6 years. It was 6 years of showing up to work each day knowing I could be doing something that aligned more with who I am. 6 years of that gnawing feeling in my stomach that I was meant for something different. 6 years of watching my partner, who has his own business, reading a book in the botanical gardens in the middle of the day while I was stuck in my cubicle. And here's what I've learned since then. Those repetitive thoughts kept me stuck. But we always have a choice when it comes to our thoughts. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to shift them so you can start taking action toward leaving corporate and building the business and life you want. You can't wait to feel ready. You have to learn to take action while feeling all the things, and managing your mind and your thoughts is the way to get there. Okay, let's start with the biggest dream killer I hear from moms. What if I fail? It's the thought, I might fail. If you haven't listened to episode 2 yet, cue it up next. We dive deep into this topic there. But for now, let's look at how this thought affects everything you do or don't do in your business. When you tell yourself, I might fail, it creates fear. And what do we do when we're afraid? We procrastinate. We make half-hearted attempts. we subconsciously create the very failure we're afraid of. So I want to offer a powerful shift. I want to offer the thought, the only real failure is not trying at all. Remember what Jermaine Foley said in the interview from episode 20? She said, the worst case scenario is not you trying and failing. The worst case scenario is that you didn't even go for it and you miss out on all the things that could have been. You get to decide what failure means. And with the right mind management, it's very hard to fail because every misstep is a data point or a lesson that helps you move forward more strategically the next time you try something. Okay, the second biggie here is I don't know enough. This thought usually shows up when you're about to take a bold step forward. It creates this heavy feeling of inadequacy that makes you shrink back and reach for another certification or course instead of taking action. This one hits home for me because I'm one of those people who collected letters behind their name for a while with multiple masters and multiple coaching certifications so that I could prove to myself that I knew enough. So this one hits home. I want you to think about it. When you tell yourself, I don't know enough, how does that make you feel? That pit in your stomach, that tightness in your chest, that's not helping you move forward. Instead, it's keeping you in an endless loop of preparation without action. And here's what's really fascinating. The more you learn, the more you realize there is to learn. It's infinite. There will never be a magical moment when you feel like you know enough. Trust me. If this one hits home for you, I recommend listening to episode 11 because it's all about how sometimes we need to stop learning so we can start doing. When the I don't know enough thought creeps in, I want you to think to yourself, I know enough to help someone one step behind me. Or even, it's possible that I know enough to offer value. Notice how different that feels in your body. When I started telling myself this, everything shifted. Instead of hiding behind more courses and certifications, I started taking meaningful action towards results and true client work. Each time I helped someone, I learned something new that made me even more equipped to help the next person. The third mental hurdle is, I want to do this the right way. Oh, this one. This is where so many brilliant moms get stuck. When you tell yourself, I need to figure out the right way first, it creates this overwhelming pressure that often leads to endless research and zero action. You might find yourself spending hours comparing different business models or marketing strategies, feeling more confused with each Google search. One of my favorite quotes comes from a fellow mom entrepreneur and friend, Olivia Radcliffe. She said, the only way to succeed in business is to realize there's not only one way to succeed in business. I want you to let that sink in. And I recently had a great conversation with Olivia on her podcast, Marketing Like a Mother, which I'll link to in the show notes because it was actually that conversation that inspired this episode because she asked about specific mind hurdles that keep moms stuck. So thanks to Olivia for that as well.
Hey moms, just jumping in real quick. If what I'm sharing resonates with you and you're ready to make real changes in your life, I'd love to support you. Through my one-on-one coaching program, I help moms just like you create the strategy and accountability needed to build a business and life you love. Ready to explore what's possible? The link to apply for a free strategy session is in the show notes. And if you're not quite ready for coaching, please join our free Mom Entrepreneur Circle, a community of moms who get it. All the links are waiting for you in the show notes. Go to jenna.coach/episode number to check it out. Now, let's get back to today's episode.
Instead of seeking the right way, I want you to approach your business like a scientist. Think about it as I'm testing different approaches to see what works for me and my clients. Feel how that creates curiosity instead of pressure. When I started viewing my business as a laboratory for experiments, everything changed, right? Some experiments failed, like that time I spent months building a course that nobody actually wanted. But each failure gave me vital data for my next move. The next thought is, I need to replace my income immediately. And when this thought pops up, pay attention to how it makes your body feel. That rushed panicked energy, it's not only exhausting, it's probably repelling potential clients too. Most of you listening have more financial flexibility than you think. And if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you may want to work with Jermaine from episode 20 or a financial planner to make sure you're in a stable place before quitting your job. But here's something crucial to remember. Your corporate paycheck is padded to compensate for all the aspects of having a 9 to 5 that drain you and don't work for you. So what if instead you tried on the thought, I'm building a sustainable business that will grow over time? I want you to notice how your shoulders might relax, how your breathing changes. This thought creates space for strategic planning instead of desperate action. There are limits to what you can make in corporate. Someone else makes those decisions for you. But in entrepreneurship, there is no limit. Yes, it takes time to grow your business, but you could actually double or triple what you make in corporate. It just takes some time. And if this one hits home for you, I want to offer a practical step. I want you to take 30 minutes this week to create a realistic 2 or 5 year revenue plan, right? Even if you don't have a business yet, just play with some numbers. Include milestones that account for learning curves and growth phases in your potential business. And don't forget to factor in the non-monetary benefits of entrepreneurship, like being able to pick your kids up from school at any time or being able to work from anywhere. My husband and I save so much money on childcare since Adley only goes part-time. Okay, here's one I hear all the time, especially from my corporate moms who've built really successful careers. I'm not the entrepreneurial type, or I'm too old to start over. And let me tell you something. That stable corporate job that you've mastered, it's actually given you more entrepreneurial skills than you realize. This thought creates such a heavy feeling in your chest when you compare yourself to the 25-year-old influencers on Instagram or the born entrepreneurs like my husband who started a website building business before he had ever actually built a website. Here's what's fascinating about corporate experience. Every time you've managed a project, you've navigated office politics, or solved a complex problem, you've been flexing entrepreneurial muscles. Those skills translate perfectly to running your own business. In fact, your age and experience are superpowers, not limitations. And since you're a mom, that means you're already running your own corporation at home with plenty of challenging employees and hard to please clients. But you figure it out. One of my clients spent 15 years in marketing before starting her business. She used to tell herself she wasn't wired for entrepreneurship. Now she runs a successful consulting practice. And you know what her clients love most? The depth of experience and corporate knowledge that she brings to every project that she would not have been able to gain without those 15 years of experience. Her corporate background isn't baggage, it is her differentiator. So I want you to try this new thought on for size. The thought, my corporate experience gives me an advantage others don't have. You feel how that creates confidence instead of doubt? When I started reframing my own corporate experience this way, I stopped seeing my age and my background as limitations and started seeing them as unique selling points. Even though my corporate background in tech education has very little to do with helping moms build a business on the surface. Last thought, and this one actually came from the same mom who sent that amazing Instagram message. She reminded me of this thought. I'm not legitimate. This is something that's so easy to come up for those transitioning from structured corporate roles. There's a nagging thought that your business isn't legitimate enough. Maybe you catch yourself saying things like, I'm just freelancing, or I'm trying this thing on the side, instead of confidently saying, I own a business, or I'm an entrepreneur. When we go from a big corporate company to something smaller scale, it's hard not to create a higher standard for what legitimate means. This one hits home for me as well because when I was starting out, I had qualifiers of when I'd be legitimate. First, it was once I have a paying client, I'll be legitimate. And then after I had my first paying client, it was if I could just pay the mortgage each month, then my business will be legitimate. once I was paying the mortgage. Then it was once I get this next certification, then I'll really be legitimate. And you want to know what happened? I'm still over here questioning my legitimacy. Countless clients later and a podcast. And that is proof that there is no moment where we sit back and relax and say, wow, I'm now legitimate. We have to create it for ourselves on the inside instead of looking for something externally to be a marker of legitimacy. Here's what I want you to really hear. Legitimacy doesn't come from external validation. It comes from the value you provide. When you help someone solve a problem or achieve a goal, that's legitimate. When you use your experience and expertise to make someone's life better, that's legitimate. When you show up consistently for your clients, that's legitimate. So try this new thought instead if you're struggling with this one. My ability to help others makes me legitimate. And I want you to feel how that shifts your energy from seeking validation to focusing on impact. Notice how it moves you from questioning your credentials to celebrating your capability. I want to recap these powerful mental shifts. The I might fail shifts to the only real failure is not trying at all. I don't know enough can turn into I know enough to help someone one step behind me. I need to find the right way is I'm a scientist testing different approaches. I need to replace my corporate income immediately becomes I'm building a sustainable business that will grow over time. I'm not cut out for entrepreneurship can become my corporate experience gives me an advantage that others don't have. And the last thought, I'm not legitimate, can become my ability to help others makes me legitimate. Notice how each of these new thoughts creates different feelings in your body. There's confidence, curiosity, patience, maybe courage. And from these feelings come different actions that actually move you forward instead of keeping you stuck. This journey of entrepreneurship is a marathon, not a sprint. And I'm here with you every step of the way. Your homework this week is to notice when these limiting thoughts come up. Pay attention to how they make you feel and practice shifting these new perspectives that we talked about today. It takes time to shift the default thoughts in your mind. And I'm not promising that those mental hurdles will go away. If I am any example, they don't go away. But we learn to work with them so that we can continue taking action with all those messy feelings. Keep tuning in over the next few weeks as we wrap up 2024 and set ourselves up for success in 2025. If you can't believe you're still in your corporate role after promising yourself that 2024 was going to be different, do not worry and do not beat yourself up. I'm going to help you actually leave your job for something more fulfilling in 2025. Until then, remember, you've got this. One thought shift at a time and one meaningful action at a time. See you next week.
Before we wrap up today's session, I want to talk to the mom who's been nodding along, feeling seen and understood. Maybe you've been thinking about leaving corporate and building your own business, but you're not sure where to start, or if it's even possible with everything else on your plate. I'm here to tell you it's possible. I've helped moms go from a vague business idea to replacing their corporate income, and I've supported others in discovering their passion and signing their first client, all while balancing working in corporate and balancing family. My one-on-one coaching program is intimate support and helps you develop the strategy and accountability you need to move your business forward. As a mom myself, I understand the unique challenges we face in prioritizing our own needs. And that's exactly why I specialize in working with moms just like you. If you're ready to explore what's possible, there's a link in the show notes to apply for a free strategy session. This isn't a pushy sales call. It's a genuine conversation to see if we're a good fit for each other. And if you're not quite ready for one-on-one coaching, you can join our free Mom Entrepreneur Circle, a supportive community of other moms who are on this same journey. The link to join is in the show notes as well. Remember, you don't have to figure this out alone. Whether it's through the podcast, our free community, or working together one-on-one, I'm here to help you create a life and business you love. Now go take that next step. Whether it's big or small, just take it. I'll be here next week with more strategies and support to help you along the way. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of How to Quit Your Job, a mom's guide to creating a life and business you love. If you want to learn more about how I can help you stop making excuses and start making moves, head on over to www.jenna.coach. I'll see you next week.